Hello, and welcome to Your Vote Counts. I'm Toma Kadu with the League of Women Voters, helping to bring to you this public, nonpartisan voter service program. These 2020 general election interviews are made possible through Capital Community Media via remote technology, and in collaboration with the League of Women Voters of Oregon and Marion and Polk counties. For this race, all candidates were invited. Candidates did not receive the questions, which were developed by the League of Women Voters, AAUW, and neighborhood associations ahead of time. The candidates were asked to prepare a 3-minute statement telling about themselves, their qualifications, and their vision for the office if elected. I'd now like to ask candidate Danielle Gonzalez, who is running for the office of Marion County Clerk, to share her opening remarks.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time today. So yes, my name is Danielle Gonzalez, and I am running for Marion County Clerk. And of course, when people ask me why I'm running for Marion County Clerk, I happily tell them because county clerks across the nation are at the very, very front lines of protecting those democratic processes. And not just for today, but also for the future. And it takes courage and conviction and tenacity and to do this hard work and to have this integrity, election integrity for all. So our country is at a crossroads, and we're not just experiencing this pandemic right now and local wildfires, but we are experiencing an epidemic of insecurity, distrust, deliberate attempts to provide misinformation to the electorate. And these nefarious attempts are intending to divide and destroy our cohesive sense of democratic purpose. During these fragile times, visionary leaders who understand the challenges ahead need to be at the helm. It takes competent and clear-eyed and nonpartisan leaders like myself to navigate the complex challenges. As the Marion County Clerk, I vow to advocate for voter access and voter equity and voter election integrity, no matter what the party of affiliation is. Because our work here today is imperative to strengthening the democracy for tomorrow. Democracy can only happen, though, when voters are provided an actual choice in their next leaders. And so I decided to give the voters a choice because I believe being the nice guy is no longer enough just to make those complex challenges planned out. The next leader in Marion County Clerk's office must be a leader who can anticipate those future challenges, create the plan, and gather necessary resources to fill that commitment. And I am asking for your vote. Danielle Gonzalez. My background is actually in community and economic development. I was the director of disaster relief for American Red Cross and also a casework director for Congresswoman Kay Granger for about 10 years when I lived in Texas. My background right now is working in economic and infrastructure development and community development in the cities, most of the rural cities in Marion County. I have an MBA from Willamette University and an undergraduate degree in political science from the University of Texas in Arlington. I have spent more than 15 years in government and more than 18 years in the professional world and have been an award-winning professional. So I just want to thank you very much for your time and vote for Danielle Gonzalez.
Danielle, tell us what you believe in the security of elections in Marion County.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Tell us why you believe in the security of elections in Marion County.
Thank you. So the security of elections is not just important from the end part. It's actually the security and the integrity of the elections all the way through the process. A democratic process cannot be efficient, and it doesn't give voters a real opportunity to learn about candidates if there's misinformation. In some parts of the country, luckily I haven't seen this here, but in some parts of the country, people will get phone calls at the very last minute telling them different days to vote on. That's something that we don't want to happen here. And so election security starts with the information that the community members get when voting, and election securities happen when you're dropping off your ballot. Some of the ballot location boxes here are sometimes a little bit more than a Rubbermaid container with a zip tie. So there's some improvements we can do on that. And then once it gets into the office, it's counted, and I have no doubt that the current clerk is counting them efficiently. But then there's security concerns always on the results. And that is something that a lot of counties in Oregon, but also across the country, are dealing with. So election security is really, really important because a person's vote is the most important aspect of citizenship. And we need to do everything we can to protect that. And sometimes that means investing in technology more so than we have.
You mentioned the wildfires we've been experiencing. What measures are being taken to assure that those displaced by the fires will be able to vote on November 3rd?
Yeah, thank you so much for this question, because I think this is one that's very, very important to me. I work in economic development, but my main communities that I work with are Detroit, Gates, Mill City, and Idana. These are cities that I've worked very closely with for many, many years. And we do big, ambitious things, and they deserve a vote. So right now, Detroit and Idana is still under evacuation orders, and Gates and Mill City went to level 2 evacuation orders today. But their mail has been all over the place. Their mail went from Salem to Lyons, and now people are having to go back and forth trying to find where their mail is. And the mail here is where we get our ballots. So that is so important for them to get that. Right now, I think the county clerk's office is trying to accommodate that as best they can by providing a website that people can go to, is oregonvotes.gov, and they can change their address up until October 13th. For many people, though, they may not have access to the internet. They may not have access to their voter registration information. So it's really important that we can get the mail to the people in time for their ballots to be sent to them. Ballots go out October 14th. And so if they update their addresses, they can call the Marion County Clerk's office or Linn County Clerk, depending on what part of the area you're from, and get either a ballot to in their hand, and they can also vote in person in the clerk's office. And I know the current clerk is working on making that a opportunity for them.
Thank you. What cybersecurity improvements have been made since the 2016 election?
Oh, so I work in the same infrastructure, the infrastructure in our county, and I would say that there's not a huge amount of cybersecurity changes on the county side, but there are many that can be happening. In the Marion County Clerk's office, once the election tallies are collected and counted, they actually remain on an internal server, and they're not attached to the internet or anything like that. In the future, though, a lot of, which makes it a little slow for us to get updated information to the state for our election systems. But there are opportunities that are coming in the near future for election security. Some different opportunities for trainings and all of that. In the coming years, we're going to have to probably look at some secondary two-step identification, such as similarly to what you do on a phone when you have a two-step authentication. We have that with the signatures. Those are very labor intensive to look at and to match. And the last thing we want to happen is for someone to actually lose their ability to vote because their signature maybe didn't match accordingly. So there are some opportunities there. In the near future, there's also some additional things that can happen with blockchain. This is a little bit further down the road, but blockchain is a technology that verifies the identity of information all along a pathway. And so I think the clerk and the next leader in our community really should be looking at what the next generation of technology, and especially in blockchain, it's not ready exactly yet, but it's getting there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What concerns, if any, do you have about our elections at the state or county levels?
Yeah. So my concerns really are about representation and making sure that the people have the access to their representatives. So let's start with some basics. How do election districts, or how are they created? So they're created through the census. So right now, 2020, we're going through the census, and most of the census is now online. So I have many communities that I work with every single day that barely have access to the internet. So getting people to fill out their census then creates those districts. Those districts then are populated by people that are within those districts. Our legislators in Oregon currently decide upon the new districts after the election. I am in favor of citizen review committees making those decisions. And that's probably where I might differ from some of my other people that I work with. Those citizen reviews and those citizen groups, the IP57, it did not pass this year. It got held up in the court system, but it is something that I have supported because I do think it provides a more democratic process from the very, very beginning. So we've got to do better about the census. We need to make sure that all our people are calculated and counted, and then make sure that they have the representation. One other piece I would say on representation is, we have at the local level, say like in Salem and in the county, we have districts that are at-large districts. That makes it really, really hard for minority voices to be heard. And that might be something we need to look at. I came here because I loved the fact that there was quite a few people that really want to support democracy in a real level. And so I appreciate that. I know the League of Women Voters is also in favor of that IP57. It's something you guys have worked hard on over the years. So that's something I would be in favor of.
How does the clerk position coordinate with the Secretary of State and the FBI?
Yeah, so the FBI actually provides resources to each state to help them secure their elections. And, that, of course, anytime you're dealing with federal or state funding, your funding mechanisms, they change over time. And the Secretary of State's office then provides that information to the local clerks. So then the clerks also have a association that they share information that way. In Marion County, though, we're falling a little bit behind what some of the other counties are doing in the state. And so I want to make sure that we're working with the Secretary of State's office and with our Homeland Security, as well as the FBI, when they see that there are threats and they're letting people know that there are potential threats. We need to be able to address those threats in a nimble way. And that means having relationships immediately on the ground so you can adjust your processes and get money and funding very, very quickly. Right now, unfortunately, we have foreign actors trying to influence our elections. And that is a very, very dangerous thing for our democracy. And so, it's great to have people debating in an honest and fair way. But many of the recent things, according to the FBI, are foreign actors trying to impede the democratic process in the United States. So I think the Secretary of State's office should be taking the lead. Do I know that they are in their way? I don't know. That's something that I would work to rectify if they're not.
Can you tell us a little bit about Oregon Tiger?
Oregon Tiger?
The Threat Information Gathering and Election Resources Team?
Ah, okay. Well, I haven't actually worked on the election side, so that would be a new one for me. But yeah, that would be a new thing. But I am a big fan of coming together. That's one thing I think that Oregon does really, really well, is coming together with diverse groups to make things happen. So I think I believe that they would be the ones that would be working with the Secretary of State's office, I'm assuming.
What is something you county residents to know about the Marion County Clerk position?
Yeah, this is my favorite part. So my favorite part is telling people about how important the clerk is. So let's put this in a perspective. We have over 210,000 registered voters in Marion County. The clerk's office touches more people than any other department in the county. They are that important. So having a group of people, and I'll tell you, the staff is wonderful at the clerk's office, but having a group of people that serve the public in this way and serve well over 200,000 people every single year it's a tall order. It's also one of the most important things, though, that we can do for our county, ensuring our elections go off without a hitch, ensuring people have access, ensuring candidates actually have information that so they can actually run for office, making sure we have passport applications and we can have our mortgage deeds registered and in our licenses. There are so many things, and it is the one department that touches the most people. So that's why I think the Marion County Clerk's office is probably the most important for me.
Thank you. And thank you, Danielle Gonzalez, candidate for Marion County Clerk, for this candidate interview today. We really appreciate you sharing your thoughts.
Thank you so very much. And again, if anybody wants to go to my website, www.votedaniellegonzalez.com.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Capital Community Media for their time and expertise in creating this program and making it available across the state through YouTube and Vote 411. Thank you to the several League of Women voter organizations for being interviewers and suggesting questions. And thanks to you, our public, for watching. Your vote counts in order to become a more informed voter. For more voter information, including dates, registration, candidates for state and local areas, and ballot measure information, please go online to vote411.org. You have until October 13th to register to vote. Ballots will be mailed to you beginning on October 14th. November 3rd is Election Day, and please remember the postmarks don't count. Elections matter and make a difference, so remember to vote, because your vote counts.